Welcome to economics, where we are going to look at um, the demand and supply curves and how they interact. So we had looked at the forces that affect demand and supply, and we underscored the fact that demand is always downsloping and supply is always what? Upsloping. Okay, so where they meet is what we call the equilibrium. So equilibrium is simply a point at which demand and supply meet. So this is our supply function and this is our demand function. The demand function has a negative slope because it has an inverse relationship. So our B is our slope. So A minus BQ, and our supply is always what? Upsloping. And the function is given by A plus BQ. So as much as possible, the consumer would want a low price, unconstrained, and the supplier would want a high price to maximize their gain. But these two forces must be controlled. And this control happens at a point called equilibrium. Equilibrium is simply a point where demand equals supply. So we have tentatively, this is 2, this is 5, this is 9, this is 0, this is 10. So the graph we are showing there has two areas, A and B. Area A and B. Area A is called the consumer surplus. Area B is called the producer surplus. Okay. And when you add these two, they're called the total surplus. So these the key principles that we're going to look at just for today. So by definition, we explained that demand theory basically looks at what? It looks at how much of a good or service to purchase at different prices alongside with other factors being held constant. So the law of demand, we said, is simply the law that stipulates that when the price goes up, the quantity demanded will fall down. This is why there is an inverse relationship. And the demand curve, as you can see, is always downsloping. We also looked at the factors that affect demand, the price of the good itself, the income of the consumers, which can either give us a normal good or an inferior good, the prices of the related goods, which can either give us substitutes or complements, so tastes and preferences, expectations about the future, the population size. So area A is simply the consumer surplus. Area B is the producer surplus. So these are given by an area of a triangle. So area A is called the consumer surplus, and area B is called the producer surplus. The formula is simply given half times base times height. All right. Area B is called the what? Producer surplus. So it is simply a triangle which is given by half times base times height. So half BH. So I'm taking my time to explain these baby steps. So the consumer surplus is simply the difference between the maximum price that consumers are willing to pay and the actual price they actually pay. So if the price of maize is supposed to be 10 kwacha, okay? So the you decide to pay 15 kwacha because you can afford more. So that's consumer surplus. So If a student is willing to pay 100 kwacha for a textbook, but the market price is 70 kwacha, so the surplus is 30 kwacha. The graph is what I've showed you there. And producer surplus is simply the difference between the market price that a seller receives and the minimum price they are willing to receive or accept. So it measures what we call the producer welfare. So if the farmer is selling maize for 50 kwacha, but the market price is 80 kwacha, he's able to go down. So the producer surplus is what? 30 kwacha. And total surplus is simply the sum of the consumer surplus and the producer surplus. It is what we call the overall welfare efficiency of the market, or the total welfare. So this is what we are talking about. So what is the distance? This triangle, if we're going to extract it, it looks something like this. So the distance from here to here is what? 10, right? And the distance from here to here, from 5 to 9, is a 4. So half BH is half times what? 10 times what? 4. What do we get? 20. So this is called the consumer surplus. And the producer surplus here is looking something like this here. This is a base B. From here to here, it's still 10. From here to here, it's 3. 10 and 3. So half, I'm just giving tentative figures here, times 10 times 3. Okay? So here you're going to have 15. So when you add the producer surplus and the consumer surplus, we call it the total surplus. The total surplus is the social welfare, which is what? 35. Now, there are what we call government interventions. The government may want to come in to control the maximum price and the minimum price that may come in. So there's what we call price ceiling. Price ceiling, for instance, rate control is the maximum legal price that a supplier should be able to charge. For instance, don't charge rentals more than a certain amount. The government may come into control. That is called a government intervention. We also have a floor price, is a minimum legal price that government come into control, like minimum wage, to avoid exploitation. So it leads to surpluses, whereas the price ceilings will lead to shortages. So this is what happens in this market. So here we have a price seal and we have a floor price. So now let's go to answering these questions here. Are we together?
Okay, maybe before you move, I
Yes,
just
please.
want clarity.
Yes, please.
Okay, on the consumer surplus as well as the producer surplus. Just wanted to confirm that's what I'm thinking. For where you got a 10, I think I know where you got it. It's here on the
10 minus 0.
on the
Then
yes.
5, 9 minus 5, the distance from here to here. 9
Okay,
minus
it's a 4, then the other one is a 3.
then 3.
Okay, that's why I wanted clarity. Okay.
All right. So now the market has the following: the demand and the supply, and we're asked to find the equilibrium price and quantity. So who remembers what happens at equilibrium? Demand is got what? Supply. And what is our demand? 300 minus 3p, right? And what is our supply? 100 plus what? 5p. Are we together? So we put the letters on one side and the numbers on one side. So here, 300 minus 100. And here, when this one goes inside, it will add 3p plus what? Plus 5p. So here you're going to have 200. You're going to have what? 8p. So we divide both sides by 8. What do we get? as our equilibrium price. Divide 200 by 8. Yes. What do we get? 25, right? 25. Then to find the quantity, you can put this 25 on any of these p's here. It can be here, it can be here. You get the same answer. So 25 by 3 is 75. 75 from 200, what do we get as our equilibrium quantity? 225. All right? So 225 is our equilibrium quantity. So Q with a small e here. Equilibrium quantity is 225. Are we together so far? So
Yes.
we now sketch. Demand is what? Down sloping, and supply is what? Up sloping. So we were learning in the previous class how to sketch linear equations. So if you have a linear equation like this one, you put the letters on one side. So Q plus 3P is equal to what? 300. So there's an invisible one there. So 1 into 300 is 300. So to cut the Q, so we know P is here and Q is here. So 1 into 300 is 300. So to cut the Q at 300. On the P, there's a 3 here. 3 into 300, it is 100. So the simplest way is to just connect these two lines. Here on the P, you put 100. On the Q, you put what? 300. So this is how we sketch this. Then we go to our other equation here. Who wants to help? How do we sketch this one? We put the letters on one side. We want to have Q minus 5P is equal to what? 100. What number is on the Q? 1. 1 into 100 is 100. What number is on the P? Is negative 5. Negative 5 into 100 is negative 20. Okay. So the P, the negative somewhere here. We'll cut the P at negative 20. And the Q at what? At 100. So we're sketching this. So now let me use a different ink. So the equilibrium price was what? What was our equilibrium price? 25. The equilibrium quantity was 225. All right. Are we together so far at this point? Are we together at this point?
Just how did you get the negative 20?
Negative 20?
Yeah, I'm a bit behind where you got the 100 and the negative 20.
Okay.
Right there on top there. The 1Q1. Yes.
Um, who wants to help on that? So I said for you to sketch, you need to have letters on one side. All right. So regarding the demand function here, we brought the 3p this side. So we had Q plus 3p is equal to 100. So we identify the intercepts. 1 into 300, it is 300. 3 into 300 is 100. So on the P, it will cut at 100. This is where the 100 is. On the Q, it will cut at 300. This is where the 300 is. Are we together on the two intercepts for the demand function? Are we together? I need your response before I proceed. Is my network down? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. It was a bit, there was a bit of a glitch. Now I can, you're clear now.
Okay. So let's now go to the other equation here, the supply equation. So supply, the Q is equal to 100 plus 5P. So when this one goes inside, it will be negative. So it will be minus 5. That's a minus 5. So we want to calculate the intercepts. So 1 into 100 is 100. Then negative 5 into 100 is negative 20. So it will cut the P, the negative 20. The negatives are on this side. That's where the negative came from. And the Q is at 100. That's where 100 is coming from. Is that clear now?
It's clear. Thank you.
So which one of the two is a consumer surplus and which one is a producer surplus? A or B?
A is consumer surplus and B supply surplus.
Yes. So A, give me the dimensions from here to here. 100 is 75, right? From
Yes,
0 to
75,
225 is 225.
25.
Okay, they share the same base. So even here it is 2. Apart from 25 minus negative 20 is 25 plus 20, which is what? 45. So what is the consumer surplus? Half of 75 times 225. Here, half of 45 times 225. All together,
Yes, yes.
so here we get the consumer surplus, and here we get the producer surplus. So consumer surplus is 0.5 times 75 times 225. 3.5 means half. 5 times 75 times 225. We get what? We get 8437. So this is 8437.5. And here we multiply 0.5 times 225 times 45. We get 5062. Okay, so that's a producer surplus and consumer surplus. When you add them, you get the total surplus. All right, so I was just teaching the other parts, even if they're not there for you to understand. So what is um, uh, um, equilibrium? We've done the equilibrium. Are we all together on the equilibrium? On the equilibrium, we're all together, right?
Yes.
All right. So this is the computation. I've sent the solutions on the group. Then we go to, so you can use it graphically. You can also use it, arithmetically. So equilibrium has been done as follows. So I hope my screen is clear. So we move to the next part of the question. So this is how the equilibrium was done. So the next part of the question is now asking us to compute suppose there is an increase in the income, which resulted to a new demand of 420 minus 3p. What is the new equilibrium price and quantity? Okay, so 420 minus what? 420 minus 3p. So what happens? You just re-equate the equations. So the demand has just changed. So what is the impact? So you're going to match the old supply to the new demand, the old supply to the new demand. So our new demand has been given as 420 minus 3p. Then the supply, we use the same supply, which was 100 plus 5p. So at equilibrium, we know quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied. So you put the letters on one side. So this one will come and add, and this one will subtract. So 420 minus 100 is 320. 5p plus 3p is 8p. So we divide the 8 into 320, we get a 40. All right? Then we now substitute this p in any of them. When you put a p here, or a p there, so we're going to put a 40 there, we're going to get 300 as our new equilibrium quantity. So we know supply quantity is 40 now. We have 300. So for this new demand, we put the letters on one side. Remember to equate. So Q plus 3P is equal to what? Is equal to 420. So 3 into 420, what do we get? 140. So here it will be 140 on the P. And 1 into 420, it's 420. So here to cut at 420. Same, this one.
Can you please kindly shift the screen?
Hold on.
We can see what you're. I can see what you're writing. Can you please shift the screen?
Okay, thank you. Able to see it?
Yes.
Yeah, so our new quantity demanded was 420 and as 3p, and our old was 100 plus 5p. So we equate these two now. So say the letters could be on one side. So the 3p will come to add the 5p, the 100 will subtract from the 120. So 320 minus 8p is 40. So this is a equilibrium price, PE. Then we put this 40 on this one or on this one or any of these two. The quantity demanded, where there's P, we put 40, we're getting 300. The quantity supplied, where there's P, we put 300. We put a 40, we're still getting 300. So this is where the 300 is coming from. Then to sketch, we are simply putting the intercepts. So this 3P, when it goes inside, will be a positive. Here is the 1 there. 1 into 420 is 420. That's a 420 here. 3P into 420, it is 140. That's 140 there. We do the same. Here, the figures have not changed. So Q is equal to 100 plus 5P. So the same way we did it, Q minus 5P is equal to what? 100. So 1 into 100, it is 100. So the 100 is here. Negative 5 into 100, it is negative 20. So this is a graphical expression of how to sketch this part here. All right, so we have answered our new equilibrium price and quantity when the demand has changed. All right, so suppose government enacts legislation that imposes a ceiling equivalent to the original equilibrium price using equation in part 2. What is the result of this legislation? When changes in both demand and supply occur simultaneously, it is more difficult to predict the effect on price and quantity demanded. Discuss the statement. All right. So basically, the price ceiling, I explained to say that when there's a price seal, it's a maximum price. So our initial equilibrium was what? Was at 25 when we calculated. those are 25. So what happens if our price seal is capped to 25? Okay, so here they put a seal of 25 here. You don't have to charge anything above 25. This is your maximum. So it will recalculate our, so we put this 25 into the supply function. Then this one, the answer you get on the demand, we put it in the demand function. So there'll be this shortage that will come in the market. We call it the deadweight loss. So you substitute the 25 here in the first equation here.
You've forgotten to shift the screen again.
Okay. So you're able to see my screen? Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see it now.
Okay, so we're told that suppose government does what? Enacts a price seal to the original price. So that original equilibrium price was 25. So you go to 25, you put 25, which is below here. Then you put the 25 where it first cuts this equation. It first cuts the equation on supply function. So our supply function is the one that it first cuts. So you substitute that price of 25. Okay, because our quantity, the new quantity demanded was what? 420 minus 3p. All right, 420 minus 3p. So this was Q is equal to 420 minus 3p. So where there's p, we're going to put what? Where there's p, we're going to put this 25, the price that has been given. So when you calculate that, our quantity that we're going to get there will be 345. 345. So this is the 345 which will come, which is here. Then we go up to touch the demand function here. Since this is now our quantity, we go now this quantity on the supply function we here. So quantity was equal to what? 100 minus what? 5p. So where there's quantity, we put our 345. So this 345 comes here, minus 100 will be 145, is equal to 5p. So you're going to have 245 divided by what? 5. So 5p here to calculate the price function. So when you do so, the 5p, the p will give you, when calculating there, you're going to calculate, and you're going to get a p. What do you get there as p? Divided by 5. So this is 5 before 49. Okay, 49. So this will be the 49 here. So we want to calculate the shortage in this bracket here. Okay, so far I hope we're together. So there will be a shortage in the sense that we are going to have a scenario where the quantity demanded is greater than quantity supplied. So just on that point, we know that calculating the P, when we put the 25 here, we're going to get 345. Okay, when we put the 25 in the supply, we're going to get 225. So the difference is 345 minus 225 is 120 units. So the effect of the price seal will cause a shortage of 120 units in the market. So that is the implication. Okay, that is the implication. Then we go to the last part of the question. When changes in both quantity demanded and supply happen simultaneously, it is more difficult to predict the effect on price and quantity demand. I discuss these statements. So when changes in both demand and supply occur simultaneously, it's more difficult to predict the effect on the price. So yes, when both demand and quantity change at the same time, the net effect on equilibrium price and quantity depends on, number one, the magnitude and the direction of each shift. So for example, if both the demand and supply will increase, the quantity will definitely increase. But if the effect on the price is ambiguous, that is, if it depends on which shift is larger. So if the demand increases and supply decreases, the price will definitely rise. But if the effect on the quantity is ambiguous, what happens? It makes it harder to predict the outcome. So I can give an illustration. In case one, demand, when you have a shift to the right, it means we're going to have both price and quantity to increase. If there's a shift in supply to the right, it means we're going to have a decrease in what? The price and an increase in quantity. So the net effect is that quantity will increase definitely, but the price will raise and fall or stay at the same time. So these are the implications that we have seen from the illustration that we've had. So I will end my class here. I'll send you homework just based on what has been done today. Vanessa, any questions?
Uh, the explanation.
Pardon?
Kindly asking for the written answer for the last question.
Okay, all right. I've sent on the group.
If you have it in writing. Okay.
Yes, I've sent on the group. Are you able to see my screen? You can capture it. So we end here.